Hi everyone, the weather is perfect and it's not too hot, not too cold, so it is time for me to start filling up my pantry with shelf-stable, ready-to-eat meals and snacks for my family. It's what I'm going to be showing you in the next several videos. And today we're going to get started with that, but before we get started, if you're new to my channel, I am one half of the Canny Couple. My name is Julia, and we are a small homestead family in rural Virginia that work every single day to merge homesteading and frugality. And Erin is not here if you're wondering where my sidekick is. So, the weather's perfect. It's like, can be 80 outside, but the house is staying comfortable. In the 68, maybe a little bit cooler, but for the most part, the house is staying at a good temperature, so I don't have to start the wood stove. Why does that matter? Well, if I have to light a fire, our living room and our kitchen gets very, very warm because our stove is just on the other side of the kitchen. So we get all of that heat. And if I run my oven here, it makes it hotter. So this is the best time of the year. I have to be very strategic because I can use the heat from the oven to help warm up the house, especially in the living room, or not have to worry about the house getting too hot and burning us out of the living room. So this is like the perfect time of the year to start this. I'm glad I waited because this year with running the stove, it was hot. We got the living room a little hot, but it kept the house very warm and we were very comfortable. But what I want to start on right now is really filling up my pantry so I don't have to worry in the summer when it's hot. I don't have to try to cook. I could get meals out just by grabbing a jar, eating. Aaron can have all the snacks that he wants to eat. And Isabel can have all the snacks she wants to eat that are homemade and shelf-stable, meaning pull them out of the refrigerator or freezer or pull them off the pantry. Shelf-stable would not be in the freezer, but I do like to have like pancakes. We'll be making some of those here in the next couple weeks. Sourdough discard, crackers, all of those things. But today what we're making is cereal, and this week later, and I'll add that to this video, we're also going to be making some crackers for Aaron and Isabel to eat. We're going to start making these and get a pantry full of this good stuff so it's ready to go. So we're making a homemade cereal. Now, we'll be chatting about frugality while I'm doing this and getting all this ready and just chatting in general. So let me know if this is what y'all like or if y'all want to hear something else from me. So I like homemade cereal, and Aaron and I actually got this one. I took the inspiration for this recipe off of one we got from Azure Standard. We love Azure Standard. It was a cherry cranberry vanilla, and it's basically the exact same thing we had, except it was expensive. Oh, it was expensive. So I was like, I wonder if I can make this myself. When I was looking at homemade cereals and things like this, like, ooh, I can make this myself and make it a lot cheaper, a lot easier on my budget, because we have a ton of vanilla that we've started and made, so I could really amp up my vanilla flavor with this. And in a later video, I'll be making a chocolate peanut butter one. Now this one is a test recipe because I'm using dates. So I have some of my dates here chopped up already. You can't see this, but these dates are hard. They are so hard. They're dried dates. We also got these from Azure Standard, and they are very, very hard to work with. Like, you can't break them. Don't want to spill that. Can't break them or bend them, tear them. I was killing myself cutting them up. So I actually had to rehydrate them, and I think it will be okay, but that's why this is a small batch test recipe. Not really a small batch. It's 8 cups of oats, the dates, and everything else, but this is a smaller batch than what I want to have. I want to have jars and jars of this in my pantry so we can just have cereal when ready. And we're going to use the dates. This can be used with raisins, cherries, cranberries, any kind of dried fruit that you like. I don't know how it would be with like dried apricots or mangoes. I don't think that would really go well with the vanilla, but these types of fruits, it goes very, very well. Now what I did was I rehydrated these dates because I have a bunch of dates. I need to use them, but I would prefer to use raisins or cranberries. So I rehydrated these just a little bit in some boiling water to kind of get them to where I could cut them, and show you here. You can see that, set my fork to the side. They're much easier to cut now. like night and day difference compared to what I was trying to do before. And I can show you that. Why I felt like I had to make the choice to rehydrate, just because they were so hard to cut. Oh gosh, they were so hard to cut. As you can see, I had to get my big knife out. That is when, I started to do this. I was like, I'm going to be doing this forever. And I don't think you all want to watch me struggle through this for hours. So I can do one and show you all what this looks like. But that's what I would have felt like it to take it, even though I'm doing a small amount. I will tell you, dates are probably one of the more expensive fruits that we can get, especially dried dates. They are pricey, but they're so good. And I like to have them on hand. I love having them on hand because they are good, and I can use them in multiple ways. You can rehydrate them, turn them into something else, and they're just absolutely wonderful. They taste amazing. But they are one of the more expensive things, and that's going to make this recipe a little bit more expensive than if you use raisins or cranberries or something like that. Now, I'm not using as much fruit as I could use in this recipe. I'm actually keeping that a little less. I try not to use as much fruit or as much sugar. You just need enough to get the taste, because this is the most expensive part of this recipe. This is one of the ways I save money on my groceries. We try to cut back on the more expensive recipes, meat or dried dates, things like that, things that are going to cost a lot more money. And what we do is we put a little bit in there, enough to get a taste of it in a lot of cases, and then we can bulk it up with the things that are a lot cheaper, like the oatmeal. The oatmeal is a much cheaper ingredient. Even the maple syrup is probably cheaper than the dates. So we're just going to keep chopping these up. And I just want them chunks. So when you have this as cereal or as a granola, that's basically what it is. It's a granola, but we eat it as cereal. And because when you want it, you want to be able to actually be able to eat it. I don't want these to be like a hunkin' piece of date when Aaron takes a bite. I can't eat this right now, but Aaron can, and this would be a really good like quick Sunday lunch or a quick Sunday if you wanted a light lunch or a breakfast, or even a quick Saturday breakfast, or if, say, it were a week he needed, we had something complicated to fix for breakfast, and he was like, just get me a bar. Instead of getting him a fruit bar, which we try to save those for emergencies, he can have one of these, and it would be a lot more economical for us, and also better for him. Aaron really likes this recipe. He loves the vanilla. That's what's going to really, really make this recipe stand out compared to any of the others that you have. And yes, my hands are clean. I feel like I have to say that every time I start this, because people will be like, do you wash your hands? Yes, I do. I wash my hands so much that they're dry. Like, they're so dry. I just had to put stuff on my thumbs because they got a little cracked, which is crazy for this time of the year, because we've had quite a bit of rain in our area. The weather's been insane. It's just, we'll go from 88 degrees to 40 degrees. And you're just like, I can't adjust. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to wear. We've had days where we've had to have the fire, and then the next day it's, so warm we have to wear shorts. It's just that time of the year right now. But the past few days have been kind of comfortable. Is this spring in Virginia? It's just one of those crazy times of year. So let me know, what are you all experiencing? You all warm or cold? Well, I'm cutting these and you're watching and listening to me babble and talk. I would really appreciate if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. And if you're wondering about my knife, I have to be very careful with it. I don't use it for very much. This is one that Aaron got me for, I want to say Christmas. He got me this for Christmas before we actually did our house remodel. So it was the year Isabel was born. You can tell they're still a little tough, but not as bad as they would have been if I would have tried to do this without actually having them rehydrate just a smidge, just enough to actually get through the fruit itself. And then I know my wood cutting board is teeny tiny. It's the only wood cutting board I have at the moment. I need to get a bigger one. We're trying to decide if we want wood or stainless steel. What I worry about stainless steel is it will dull your knives. And what I don't like about wood is it's so prone to molding. I can't make up my mind. A lot of times, like especially if I have chicken or something like that, I won't even use the wood cutting board. If it's raw, I'll actually use just a plate because I don't like to use the wood cutting board for things like that. Okay. Get that little bit of juice off my hands with a clean towel. I'm going to switch this over here. All right. So as you can see, this is not a lot. This is probably about 2.5 cups. 2.5 cups, which sounds like a lot, but for the amount that we're going to make, it really isn't. So I have an empty bowl here. Pull out my oatmeal. So you're like, Julia, you all are only 3 people. You have a bucket of oatmeal. Yep, I do. I do. But we eat a lot of oatmeal. Oatmeal is a staple in our house. I use it for everything, everything. So we're going to do 8 cups of this. We'll see how many cups I can get in here. I think I can get 8 in here. My eyes might be bigger than my mouth. And my measuring cup, I just put it back in there, leave it in there. If I need more, I could get more. Get the top back on. These are the gamma lids. Love these. They make it so much easier when you store food in bulk like that. But we definitely use these a lot. They were very, very worth it. So here is my oatmeal. Here's my salt. Just gonna put a sprinkle. And then we're going to give that a quick stir with our spoon. Then I'm going to add my dates in, and we're just going to start slowly mixing these up. I also want Aaron to taste this and see if he likes it with the dates. I think the dates are going to be really, really good. It's going to be a good addition to this meal. And this is, like I said, going to be one of the pricier ones we have. I like to use raisins. I did raisins last time and they were wonderful. And I like to use cranberries, dried cranberries, just because I don't have to do any work to them. You do is dump it in and you're done so much faster. So yes, we are a little family. There are 3 of us, myself, my husband, Aaron, and our little one, Isabel. But I am a bulk cooker because I come from a massive family. Well, not massive, it's a very big family. So I learned how to cook really big meals, and I never really unlearned how to cook really big meals. So vanilla. Now, I'm going to shock a lot of you with the amount of vanilla I'm going to put in here. I'm going to put in a lot of vanilla. But again, I make my own homemade vanilla. If you have not seen that video, there is a video on our channel about how I make homemade vanilla. But vanilla to be made homemade is super simple. This is not imitation vanilla. This is real vanilla. The bottle is just very old and glass, so we wash it and reuse it. What it is it's 1 cup of alcohol. That's what we use. We use vodka or rum to 1 ounce of beans. And I have a lot of jars just doing their thing in my pantry, not really pantry, my cupboard. And it's just sort of sitting there doing its thing while kind of aging. And this one here is about 2 years old. We actually found this in our downstairs over storage when I was going through it, and I was like, this looks like vanilla. I didn't have a name on it. It was a mixed bean. It said mixed bean and it had a year, and I'm like, I think this is vanilla. And I brought it upstairs and Aaron said, what did you find? I was like, I think I found vanilla, and I did. And it's amazing because it's been sitting for 2 years, and that's like, it's just out of this world, and it's so good in this. So we are going to add a lot. I would probably, yeah, as you see, I added about a half a cup, and I will probably add more. I know, I feel people just, oh my gosh, what's she doing? I have enough, trust me. This is one of the reasons we make our own vanilla, because for real vanilla, this is one of those recipes where if you make, you got to throw it in there. It is so good. This is probably, if I didn't have the dates in here, this would be the most expensive ingredient with the amount that I put in. You can do as much as you like. That's what I like about this recipe. It is customizable to whatever your taste profile is. I eat this in chocolate and a little bit of peanut butter, and it almost tastes like a oatmeal Cocoa Puff. And I'm not huge about chocolate and oatmeal in most cases, but man, it is amazing. It is so good in the chocolate. Aaron really liked it in this one. And I cook for my family. I don't cook for anybody else. So, like I said, I'm going to put some more in here because I want to make sure Aaron gets vanilla in every single bite. I'm going to do another splash. We'll give it another quick stir. You can see how that vanilla, it's already kind of soaking into the oats and everything. It's going to be so good. Aaron's he's going to gobble this up. I don't think this is going to last very long. If he doesn't like the fruit, he can pick out the fruit and he'll eat the oats. Now, the next thing I add is our maple syrup. And I try to go as light on this as I can because maple syrup is expensive. And I'm going to set this to the side because I don't want to spill this. And I'm going to try with 1.5 cups. So this is my 1 cup, and I'll do 1 cup, and then I will come back and do another 1/2 cup. You can use whatever you like to use as a sweetener. I think you could probably do this with honey. Maple syrup works really, really well in this recipe. And this is why I like this little spatula here. It is probably one of the best teeny spatulas I've ever had for just, in general, getting things out. It's a little silicone thing, and I don't use it for heat. I just use it on like plastic. But man, if I don't spill everything, it gets the stuff out of there so well. So you're like, Julia, you're using a lot of expensive ingredients. Yes, I am. But this is going to make a lot, and it only takes a little bit of this to fill you up. And it's a lot cheaper than buying this at the grocery store. I mean, a lot cheaper. Because I know maple syrup is expensive for a lot of people. If you don't live in an area or you're not producing your own, for us, maple syrup, this one costs us about $25 when we go and get it. But I make this thing last. Now, I will go get another one because I am going to be making a lot of cereal because I need quick and easy breakfast. Quick and easy breakfasts are sort of my thing. I like to have those on hand just because I feel like they make life a lot easier. Now, we're going to mix, but we're not done yet. And my countertops are clean as I scoosh this out. We do need to add a little bit of water. Now, here's where you have to be very, very careful because you do not want to get this super wet. You're going to go very slow on this. You just need it moist enough to help the oatmeal cook because ours are not quick oats. Ours are rolled oats. So I have found they need a little bit of moisture in them to help them kind of cook. And what I will do when this is done, I'll put it in a mason jar. and use my vacuum sealer, which pulls up all the air, and then put a ring on it and just let it sit until we're ready to eat it. I'll probably do a test of one, like a little test to see how long the dates will last, like do a small amount in a little half pint. I like to do that a lot. So we're going to add some water. I've got a jar here of water. I probably added a half a cup. I don't know if you can see this, just how pretty this looks. It smells divine. It smells like a nice, rich vanilla. Again, we're just trying to get the sides and make sure it's all fully incorporated. And again, I'm making a mess here. Let me know in the kitchen, how many of you are messy cooks? I try not to be. I really do. I try to keep my mess contained. Man, sometimes it just can't be helped. I need a little bit more water. I can tell, because see, you can kind of see it's a little, it's almost moist where I need it to be, but it's still just a little drier than what I want. So I probably added a little over a cup of water into this, which is not bad. Maybe a cup and a fourth for 8 cups of oatmeal. And this is going to make at least 3 to 4 jars of granola. I'm thinking it's probably going to be closer to 3. We're just going to keep mixing it. And there we go. All done. As you see, perfect. A little bit moist, not too moist, and it'll cook just fine. Oven is set at 350 degrees. I already got that done. And I have some pans out here. I have out 3. I'm hoping I can get done with 2. So just use my baking sheets here. These are one of the things I have not updated in my house yet, but I need to. But I will tell you, I don't like using my silicone mats anymore. They are clean. They're just very loved. Very loved. Very, very worn and very loved. They've been well used, but I've tried not to use these, but for this meal, I have to. Parchment paper does not work. Wax paper, I don't use it. It just does not work. I have to have these because of the ease to get it off. I do not want to be picking paper off, and I also cannot have it sticking to the pan. This is just the only way to go. I've done that, been there, done that. We're not playing that game again. So we're going to lay this on here. We want to try to get it kind of clumped. As you see, you want it not too thin. You don't want it super thin, because you kind of want it to form like these little clumps, like right here, right there. You kind of want it to clump up like granola. Is what we're making here. So I like to do a layer about a ½ inch thick on each pan. It looks like it'll be about half and half, which works perfect. And then what we'll do is we'll cook these until it's a golden brown. You have to watch it like a hawk, because it will burn very, very quickly. What I will do is I will set an alarm for 10 minutes, pull them out, stir them up, and then put them back in for 5 minutes and just keep watching them. Once I get to the point where I need to look at them, I'll set the timer for like 3 minutes, 2 minutes, just to make sure I get them just right, because I did accidentally burn them once. Aaron let me know. He informed me it was burnt. He couldn't eat it, so the chickens got that one. So here is the first pan. So pretty. And then now we'll add to the second pan. Again, these are clean. They're just very well loved. Even the pans are well loved. I need to move to stainless steel. I've just been putting that off. But that is one of the things I do need to go to, is stainless steel baking sheets. I just don't bake that much on them. If I use anything, I'm going to use my glass. Usually for casserole dishes, I don't really have to use bread pans very much. I usually just use my glass baking dishes. I used to use these things for a lot, and I would never get rid of them because let me tell you something. If you have to move jars or you need to have jars set somewhere, these things contain a mess. They will contain a mess. If I'm peeling something that's wet, like a watermelon or cantaloupe or anything like that, I will do it on a pan because, yes, I'm going to get a little bit on my countertop, but most of it is going to be on the pan, and then I could just take the pan and everything and all the rinds and take it to my chickens. Okay, that is done. Smooth out just a little bit, and I didn't need the third pan, which is good. Now what I will do is I'll get these into the oven and let them cook again. I'm going to put them on for 10 to 15 minutes with the timer. Let them cook, get them out, stir them once just to get them kind of moving and move it around and make sure everything cooks all the way through. Then put them back in, and when we come back in just a few minutes, these will be done and ready to try and eat. Go into a jar, and I will see you then. It is done, or at least one pan of it's done. And I want to show you all what this looked like. Now, tomorrow I'm going to be making cracker bread, and I'll have you along for that. I'm feeling good, better than I have, and I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to do too much. So I've been doing a lot of homestead chores, household chores, so I'm trying to pace myself. So we're kind of splitting up how I would normally do this, try to do it all at once. But this is done, as you can see. It looks very, very pretty. All these little crumbles. Now, hold the pan up, it's still very, very hot. But it's got a little bit of a brown. I probably could have roasted it just a little bit longer, but I try to be very careful with this. I'd like it to be a little less brown than burnt. And there's a very fine line you play with this stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and try it for you all. I can try a small piece. Let's see here. I will tell you, it smells so good. It is not too much vanilla. Those dates are wonderful. I think Aaron's really going to like this. I'm jealous he gets to eat this right now because it is very good. But tomorrow we'll work on, just threw a piece of stuff into the sink. It's be my habit. Tomorrow I will work on getting that cracker bread. We'll make a big batch of it to get started on filling our pantry and feed everybody. So when we come back tomorrow, we'll get that cracker bread made and get all this started. Well, it is a new day. We are ready to get started today. I'm feeling decent, not 100%, but I'm feeling better than I have been. And I've got not a lot of work planned for today, but some really good kitchen projects to get done. So here is what that granola ended up looking like in the jar. Super pretty. Aaron liked it a lot. He did. So we are actually going to make another batch of this today. I can't make as much cracker bread as I originally planned to today because I ran out of yeast. So I've got to get yeast this week. I've never been so low on yeast. But I haven't bought it in years. I don't think I've bought yeast since 2020, and I got 2 big things of it. And so I need to go ahead and restockpile my yeast. I keep it in the freezer until I need it, and then I pour out a little bit and just keep it in the freezer, and it'll last for ages. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to start with our cracker bread. And I've got everything out here. I got my big bowl. These big bowls I got from my gram. She gave these to me. Very nicely gave these to me, and I love them. So I have my yeast here, as you can see, and I'm going to go ahead and pour that into the bowl. My hands are clean. And then we have our salt And we need, so we're doing this times 5. And I know some people like to do these in like separate things. I'm not that person. I just do it all in one big bowl and go from there. I'm not intimidated by big batch mixing and cooking. So we're doing this 5 teaspoons of salt. Then knock off the rest of the salt off of there. Then we are going to come over here and there's a video on how I make this. So make sure you go check out that video. It will show you how I actually make this and put this together. We're going to go ahead and do our whole wheat flour. So I need 1 cup and 1/4. So I'm going to start with the 1/4. That's about 1/4. And then we're doing a whole cup of whole wheat flour. So I don't like to put my metal bowls or anything like that on my countertop directly. I don't know if anybody else is like that. I feel like it moves too much. So I love my countertops, but in some ways I hate my countertops because I obsess over them. I'm terrified they're going to break, they're going to crack, they're going to stain, and it causes stress. But I do love them. Now we're going to do the flour after we add the water and the seasoning. Jumping ahead. Follow the instructions. So now we're going to add seasoning. So I would tell you normally to do 1 to 2 tablespoons of seasoning. So I'm going to tell you, with my family, I do way, way more than that because as you all, if you've watched our videos, you know Aaron, I can't over season for him. So there is 1 batch, 2 batch, 3 batch, 4 batch, 5 batch. And I bet you that will not be enough. Whew. And this is a chili and lime seasoning. This is one of Aaron's favorite types of crackers. We used to get these all the time. And I'm going to sneeze. Whew. Now we need to add water, and we need to add 5 cups of water, but I might need a little bit more, and this is warm water. So when they say warm water, I actually do as hot as I can get. I don't do temperature gauges or anything like that. I actually get just as hot as I can get out of the tap. And this is 5 cups is what we need. That was 4 cups exactly. I didn't know. Sometimes you can get 4 cups exactly out of a jar. Sometimes it's a little bit more. If you've been canning, or you know what I'm talking about. It's just, I don't trust the measurements always because there is headspace. I use jars as approximates. And this is what it looks like so far. It's kind of like a slurry. You can tell that yeast is already doing its thing. But it keeps the bowls from moving as I'm mixing. So otherwise the bowl would move everywhere. And it can cause spots on my countertop. So now we're going to start adding our flour. And we need 10 cups of flour. That's a lot of flour. And I like King Arthur's just plain all-purpose flour. That is what we use in our house 90% of the time. But it is more expensive. It is at least twice the price of other flours. But it's only got one ingredient, which is whole wheat flour. It's 4 cups. And if you notice, I keep measuring cups in all the things that I use a lot. I do that. That's why I have so many measuring cups. Most people would look at my kitchen and be like, how many people are you cooking for? There's only 3 of you. I probably have 6 or 7 sets of measuring cups right now. And Eric keeps getting me some that he knows I love. He got me a set of magnetic ones, which are amazing. They're measuring cups. And they also show like half. And it's really great. So here we go. We're just going to keep measuring and get this incorporated. I still have about 4 more cups to add. And I went ahead and added the seasoning into it. Like, I had forgotten it before. And the reason I'm making all of these chili lime, this is what Aaron would prefer they be. He likes the salted ones, but if he had a preference, he wants the chili lime. So does Isabel. So do I, for that matter. I can't eat these right now, but they can. And Aaron has been subtly letting me know he is out of snacks. Like, I don't have anything to snack on. These are fast to cook. They're very fast to cook, but the heat is so high on the stove. That's why I like making them batch. But they're very, very fast to cook, so you have to be really careful when you're making these. We're just going to form our ball, our dough. And yes, I could have a machine do this for me. I've just found it's just as easy for me to do it this way. It really is. That's one less thing I have to clean. I'd rather clean a spoon than I would something from the machine, the KitchenAid or anything else. I probably will get another one or have this one look. We think we might be able to do something to get mine working again. But for the most part, it's just an extra expense I don't need right now. There's other homestead projects we could use that money for. We need more raised beds. We're about to you can't see out our window, but we had a fence installed, and because we had a whole bunch of trees cut down, but the trees gave us privacy, which I loved. But one of the things that we did was when we took the trees down, we decided we needed some sort of a fence right there, just because it's a really steep bank. So if somebody were on it and they fell or something like that, it would be a very long fall. So we decided to put a fence up, and we're going to do strawberry beds and blueberries throughout the entire park. I can't grow enough strawberries for Isabel, and I can make jelly or jam, and they'll just eat it all right up. And then we're going to do blueberry plants towards the bottom, because we still need to have drivable access through there. It's where our well pump is. And we're going to put blueberries, but this is like a long goal process. It's not like something we could do all at once. We're going to have to do it slowly, by like 4 raised beds a year, and then 50 to 100 strawberry plants a year, and just slowly build those up so we can have strawberries throughout the entire season. Last year we did 2 different types of strawberries. We put in a raised bed beside the house. Not a raised bed, they're in the ground. So we do not I don't like them in raised beds because they don't last as long. We get so cold it'll kill them. But if I put them in the ground in a bed, to where I can protect them from the birds. But we did one that comes in early-ish. Like right now we have probably 50, 60 blooms on those plants right now, if not more. Then we can do everbearing, and the everbearings will produce. Ours produced through November. We had strawberries. Isabel was eating strawberries in November of last year, which is crazy to think of. Crazy to think of. Strawberries. We were eating peppers last year in November. It was so warm, but then it got super cold. You can see this, though, it's actually formed up really, really pretty. I'm not going to add any more flour, so I actually did 1 cup less of the flour than I normally would do. It's going to make a lot of crackers. Aaron's going to be very happy man. He's like, I need snacks. I don't know, like, what kind of homestead snacks do you all eat? What kind of homemade snacks do you make for your family? I'm not a snacky person. If I am, I want jerky. I want a beef stick. I want something like that. I don't really care for, I can eat them occasionally. I have to be really hungry. Or like I can just eat cheese. That's a good snack for me. But what kind of snacks do you all like? Tell me in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. If you got a good homemade recipe, it might be something I could try with my people. Okay, here it is. Our lovely ball. It's going to make amazing crackers here soon. We're actually going to do something a little bit different that should make it a lot easier. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Please make this easier for me to actually make these into crackers. So I'm going to set this aside right now and get this hand washed off. So got that set. Okay, easy peasy. One of the things I have found, if I use my dish towel or my dish rag that I have in the sink, it will help me get the flour and stuff off my hands so much faster. It really does. It just takes it right off. Okay, so those are done. I might need a little bit more flour. I didn't know if I was going to use all of that or not, but just in case. Now we need to make these granola, because we're going to get another 3 jars. It gets me 6 total jars of granola right now. I still want more, so we're going to do even more of that. I would like to have somewhere between 20-25 jars of this on hand, because it will save me a lot of time in the summer. Got dates. Did I leave one of these open? I don't think I did. That wasn't very smart of me. And we're just going to put some of these into a pot of water. It's not boiling, it is a small amount of water. It's maybe a cup of water, because these are too hard for me to rehydrate. These are too hard without getting some moisture back into them. So I'll put them on, boil them for like a minute, maybe a minute, and then we can cut these up and add them to our dish. While these are doing, the cracker bread will be finished raising. I'm only going to do half of a jar. It doesn't need very much. Again, these are the most expensive part of this. Now, we do buy these in bulk. We buy these when we get these. We get them at Azure Standard, and we get the best price per size. It's not too terribly large. Like, we don't buy like a 50-pound of dates, but maybe like 25, 10 to 25, and put them up. So got those there. It's a little sticky. Make sure I turn on the right stove eye. So we went to a store that we go to. It kind of reminds you of like an old Magic Mart before they closed them all down. I loved Magic Mart when they had it. But we went to Rose's, and Aaron's looking, and we were in the kitchen stuff, because sometimes I could get good glassware there. And he's like, hey, here's some stove eye covers. What about these? And I'm like, no, it's not a good idea. I might have burnt a few sets from my mom a few times. Mama used to get these all the times, and just out of habit, my first thing would do when I was cooking, turn on the stove, and then put the pot on. Well, I wouldn't take the stove eye cover off. I burned up a few. I told them they will burn. So we're going to do 8 cups. We did yesterday, so we're doubling it, of oatmeal. And again, this is just pure whole oatmeal. Now, I am going to use a less maple syrup this time. I did find that it might have been, it was sweet, but I could probably cut back the maple syrup to preserve that a little bit longer. It was too crunchy for Isabel. She wanted some, but she didn't care for it because it was too hard for her, which I understand. My only problem with the gamma lids, they can be a little finicky to get on sometimes. There we go. Okay, we're gonna put some salt and check on our plums. They are close to being ready. I'm gonna add our vanilla. Again, do not let your heart drop into your stomach. I promise you, I know what I'm doing here. This is based on families. My family really, really likes vanilla in this. And this is the most I use vanilla in any recipe. It's going to be this one. We don't eat cereal a lot, but in the summertime or when I need a fast breakfast, this is a great breakfast to have on hand. As you can see, you can tell it's getting a little bit damp, a little bit wet. It doesn't need much. It doesn't need much at all. And there are some recipes out there you can use corn syrup. You can use anything that you would like to make this, to sweeten it up. You could probably even make a sugar syrup if you did not have maple syrup or you don't keep maple syrup on hand. You could probably do that. For me, this one works just fine. If you all hear Isabel, yeah, she's playing right now. This is heavy. I'm actually going to set this down. This jar is kind of heavy for me. I do keep these jars. I have started a collection of these jars. I don't have that many, but I do have a collection of these glass jars. I like them. We can use them for anything because they're pure glass. So I'm going to get a spoon to get that maple syrup out. Actually, I'm going to get this little knife. This is like a butter knife that we had. I actually use it more than I use. We use butter knives a lot, mostly to get the coffee grounds out to send to the chickens because we have a reusable coffee filter. I'm going to tell you, it was pricey. It was pricey. And they might not make sense for a lot of people, but just not having to take the coffee grounds out and throw them away, it makes it a lot easier for me to compost them or to give them to the chickens. Sorry, had a message I needed to look at here. We're just going to get that all mixed in. And again, I think that's more than enough. I think that's going to be sweet enough. I don't want to over sweeten this again. Yep. And those are finished. Like I said, they don't take very long. And we've got our clean cutting tray, and I will get a knife and a fork. So Aaron was going to get me more of these knives. I mentioned the really big one that he got me earlier. He was going to get me more of these knives until I almost sliced my finger open with this one. It was bad. I mean, it just cut like butter. So it was like, maybe we better not get me any more of these knives. I don't understand how people, like, I've never been one person, like, we've never been someone who could just have like one knife on hand. I've always used a bunch of knives, especially whenever we're cooking. We use them for everything. Cut anything that needs to be cut, to get into anything that we need to get into. Look at how easy that is. Just a little bit to rehydrate these. And they were not wet in the granola. But like I said, I do prefer to use something where I don't have to do the extra work. This is all for my pantry. So when you're thinking about this, All of this stuff, the majority of it, I already had everything on hand. The only thing I have restocked was the flour. And that was the white flour, the all-purpose, not the wheat flour. The wheat flour I've had on film forever. I know flour has an expiration date, but I'm going to tell you, I've never had flour go bad. Ever. I've never had any bugs, never had any issues. And trust me, if you live in Virginia, our state bird is the stink bug. So if you ever see a stink bug flying around, I can't help it. They just get in the house some way, somehow. We try to control it, and we have a stink bug catcher in that my little one could spot them a mile away. But they get everywhere. They just get everywhere. I've never had issues in my pantry or anything like that with them. They tend to go everywhere else. But with flour, that's one of the few things I've never had an issue with it going bad. Now recently I had some peanut butter go bad. Like I could tell it wasn't quite right, but never had an issue with the other. Now yesterday I tossed this date liquid. You can see it's kind of, but I'm actually going to use it to re-moisturize this because it's got that date flavor in it. It should help amp up the flavor of the dates. Probably also got some of the date sugars in it where it rehydrated. So it's not a lot of water, it's just a little bit. If I can get a hold of these. And then we're not wasting it. Get these sliced up. They're too big in this for a cereal. Maybe for a regular granola, but they'd still be hard to chew. So I would at least cut these in half if you're going to use a bigger fruit. If you're going to do apricots or something like that, I'd cut those in half. Mangoes, those will cut easier with a pair of scissors. I will cut mangoes up before I ever seal them in a jar. Simply because Isabel loves them. But when we get them in bulk. And I'll cut them up and put them in a jar for her. Because they're really big and I don't want her to put a whole one in her mouth and not be able to chew it. Like I said, I didn't do a bunch of these, I only did half of a jar. Having them in jars, I can control the amount that I'm actually putting out better. See, we're almost done, just a few more. I didn't want to use a spoon, and I don't have any small slotted spoons. All of mine are really big. That's one of the things we don't really have right now. So I didn't want to use a spoon because it would put a lot more liquid out onto the cutting board. So if y'all are like, why is she using a fork? That's why. We're almost done here, and then when this is done, we will be ready to start the next part of our cracker bread. When we get this in the oven, I'll go ahead and get my oven on actually. And my counters are clean. All of it's clean, no issues. So don't yell at me for setting things on my countertop. They're all clean. And okay, so here it is. We'll get this mixed in just a little bit, and then I'll add some of this hot liquid in here. So I want to keep my oven mitt silicone mat underneath it. Just add just a smidget of that water. I added half of it. Like I said, it was probably about a cup. And we're going to need the rest of that. Yep. So about a cup of water total added into this. It was hot water, so we shouldn't have to add any more because hot water, the oats, it will already go ahead and start the actual cooking process. Because as you know, hot water makes oatmeal. And we're not wanting oatmeal, we're wanting granola. So we don't want to add too much water. We just want to add just enough so it cooks the oats when we bake it. We don't want the oats to be really raw. We want them a little bit cooked. And get that mixed up. As you can see, really pretty. Not near as many dates this time because I was able to control it just a little bit better to see how many we had. But it looks really good. It smells really good. Okay, got our pans. I washed these yesterday. So we know half and half, and that's just about right for these. And what I will do is I will get new mats out because I will keep using these throughout everything. I'll wipe them down and keep using these for all the projects because I can get 4 into my oven. I only need to do 2 on this one. The cracker bread, I will need to do 4. So I'm going to keep spreading this out here. Again, half onto each pan. This looks really good. It smells really good too. And I'm glad I could use that water. I feel like I missed an opportunity yesterday. So we're learning together. Learn together. That's everything. As long as you're learning something new every single day, that's what matters. So we continue to learn every day. Even if it's about cooking, it's about frugality, your finances, just day-to-day history, whatever inspires you. Every single day, learn something new. There's the first pan. Here's the second pan. And again, these are clean. They're just very well loved. It's a nice way to say very well used. And if you have any like big clumps, you want to kind of break those up because you want to make sure it cooks all the way through and it's not raw on the inside. So you want clumps, but you don't want them to be too big. You want them to be a good size, like bite-sized clumps. I'm just going to keep adding all this in here, and I could probably start pouring now. I just don't want to overwhelm my tray and get too much on it, and then I have to transfer it to the other one. That gets messy. I want to be careful about making sure it's not too messy, because then I have to clean up the mess. I like my messes to be contained. Spread those out just a little bit more. My nose is itching, sorry. We're gonna get these into the oven and we are going to watch them very carefully to make sure they don't burn. The one on the bottom is the one that will be most likely to burn. But I did increase the temperature because for the cracker bread, it needs to be on a higher temperature. The cracker bread actually cooks at like 400, 425. It's a much faster cook. So we've let this rise for a few minutes. Now we can come to the next part of this, which is separating it out. I'm going to go ahead and add some flour here. I like that flour on the side of my tray because it just makes better sense to me. And now we're going to make some itty bitty balls here. Now we're going to roll these into, because we're going to get ready to roll these into a tortilla press. I know, right? I shocked you all, like, wait, what's she doing with these? We're actually going to do them in a tortilla press because, and I'm going to cook them in that size. My thought is if we do a tortilla press, it will be easier for me to get it flat. I can't get it that flat. and I need it as flat as I can get it. So if I do it through a tortilla press, I can take them out and then break them up like chips, and that will be just fine. Versus me having to take them out of the tortilla press, then having to cut them. I'd rather break them. It would just be a simpler process because they're easier to work with once they've baked. And I don't care about these being super, super pretty, like lovely little balls, because you can tell like the flour's kind of in each of them. That's okay. It's okay. Breathe. It's okay. Just gonna keep rolling these out till we get a lot. Then it's gonna make a lot of chips. And this is just going to be the first batch, because this will not be enough for us to have. We'll need a lot more of these. A lot more, because Aaron can eat these, especially in the summertime. He does a lot of work outside in the evenings and things like that after work, and it just will help him have something to eat when he needs a snack, or as a snack before an appointment or something like that. He can get these, and it should be healthier, a little bit more filling than something we could buy at the store. I really try so hard not to buy snacks at the store. We've done really good. We used to have a lot more snacks. If you look at our first pantry videos, you remember there were a lot of snacks. There's nowhere near that many snacks in the house now. Now most of the time there's snacks of convenience. Whenever I need to have stuff for, like when we go yard selling, when we're looking for things to buy, or if we have to go out and do a lot of things and we're going to be gone all day, then I tend to lean towards snacks of convenience, just because it's a lot easier for me to keep them in the diaper bag ready to go, or the diaper backpack ready to go. And I always have some for everybody. I have something for the little one, something for Aaron, something for me, so we always have something to eat, and we don't have to actually stop somewhere and get it, because it's a lot cheaper. You can buy it at the grocery store, get it a lot cheaper. There's another frugal tip. Make sure you take your snacks with you. Keep them in the car, not in the car, especially if you're in like a hot area, but in your purse, in your bag. Take your water. All of those things matter. I'm just gonna keep rolling here. Just trying to form little balls. I don't care if they're pretty or not, and I know a lot of other people would disagree with this, but it'll do. It really will. It will do fine. For what we're about to do to it, this doesn't matter. I'm not trying to win a beauty contest with my food. And that's one of the things I feel people get intimidated with food about. You look at all these beautiful, lovely creations created by chefs and people who have been doing this for so long. And in all reality, you're going to eat it. And as long as it tastes good, does it matter? You can eat it. It's edible. It's healthier. Just try it. Doesn't have to win a beauty contest, but if that's important to you, keep going with that. This is going to make a lot of crackers. I'm hoping to get 6 to 7 quart jars, maybe 8 quart jars this time. We will see. I'm gonna have to see it. I don't know if I'll actually end up with that many. The last time I made this, I put it on one of those silicone mats and rolled it out on the mat, and then transferred it to a baking sheet. And that did work well. If you don't have a tortilla press, that does work. But God, it's so hard to get them flat. I feel like I'm wasting so much time, effort, and energy just trying to get these down. I feel like there's got to be an easier way. So we're going to try the tortilla press. I've not gotten to use it yet because I went on this diet. So I haven't been able to use my tortilla press that Aaron got me for Christmas. So I'm looking forward to trying that and seeing how that works with these as we go through. Just gonna keep rolling these out. So what I look for in a shelf-stable meal, I look at the ingredients. Oop, that was my oven. the pan got warm and it popped. So I'll look at the ingredients that are actually in the item, and if they are ingredients that could go bad, like oils can go bad within, 6 months, they say. If it's going to go bad, I tend to avoid those recipes. So I look at the ingredients to determine, okay, what is this actually shelf stable? So all of these ingredients here are pretty shelf stable. The vanilla, the oatmeal, the salt, and in here it's water. So you're cooking it to get the water out, to get it to that desired crisp, that desired crunch. So it does help if you kind of look at the ingredients you're working with, and that will help you determine if this is going to be shelf stable or if you need to actually freeze it. I tend to like to look for shelf stable because while we do have freezer space, I need my freezer space in the summertime for berries, the blackberries, the raspberries, all of that. I need to make sure I have all that room for it instead of for this kind of stuff. I will have to do some things here, like pancakes. They will have to be frozen. They're not going to last on my shelf. I could probably freeze dry them, but I don't know how they would reconstitute when you soak them in water. I don't think that tastes very good. But a lot of people do it. A lot of people do. That's just not for us. I'm just going to keep working through here. And I'm just going to keep working on these and get these down. And when the other stuff is ready, we'll come back and I will show you what it all looks like when it's all said and done. And then we will start getting these pressed and get them in the oven. Okay, so we came over here, and this is our first batch of the granola. You see it looks really, really pretty. I have it in this bowl to start to cool down because I need the pan for the oven. And let's see here. Still hot. Still a little hot. What we're going to do is we are actually going to start pressing these chips. We're going to press our cracker bread. Here is my tortilla press. As you can see, I've got some parchment paper here. And again, I would not do this on my countertop because I would be afraid it might hurt my countertop. And I'm just going to make sure each of these is rolled in a little bit of flour. Not a huge amount of flour, just a little bit. This is my first time using this. I've not used it before. So bear with me. And I'm going to leverage that. Oh my God, that's so much easier. And this is going to work like a charm. That, I can't get it that flat. Not on my own. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, I thought that would work. I did. I thought that would work. Super thin. Perfect. Cook it just till it's done. And oh, it should just press out just so pretty. Make sure I use the parchment paper. I don't want it to stick on here. We're just going to keep doing this until we get them through. But I do have to watch. I've got that other batch of granola in the oven. So I have to stop and pull that out here in just a minute or two. Let's see, what time is it? We'll give it 3 minutes. See how many of these I can do in 3 minutes. This is so much easier. If you have a tortilla press and you're making cracker bread for your family or crackers, this is the only way to do it. Small batches. But let me tell you something. That was a nightmare. Oh, it was such a nightmare. I felt like it took me forever to actually get these broken down into anything. That was the hardest part. One of the reasons I avoided making this as much as possible. But this is easy. This is so much easier. Oops, the one tore. That is okay. If it tears, as long as I can get most of it on there. I don't care so much about that because it will I'm going to break it up anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to break these up, and you can see here. They're just perfection. Beautiful little thin crisps of yumminess. Aaron was like, "What are you making?" I said, "I'm making you cracker bread." He's like, "Oh, okay." Make sure they don't overlap. That is one thing, because the thicker it is, you're going to have like it will bake, but it'll be like a soft spot, and if it doesn't get like crispy, that's when they could tend to get bad on shelf stable. So I want to make sure these get crisp all the way through. This is actually a much better way of doing it because it gets it more uniform. Now again, keep using your rolling pin if you don't have one of these. Work towards making the investment. The rolling pin does fine. It really does, but this is a lot easier on the hands and on the back. There's one ready to go in the oven. Get another one going. You can tell my littler ones are not as well loved as the bigger ones, the mats. That is because I don't use little pans. I don't cook small meals. So if you're a big family and you're like, their family's tiny, it won't apply to me. Listen, I feel you. But we still cook big meals. I still cook big meals because that's all I know how to do. I've never been one to cook just a small amount of food. I want leftovers. I don't want to have to cook all the time. And there are people out there who love that can do that. But if you do the math and you see how many meals you're making every single day, every single week, year on year, it's not worth it to me. I'd rather have leftovers. And luckily, I have a family that's okay with that. You see, we got a lot of these little chips. And you can tell, like, yes, they're ugly, but look how pretty they flattened out. So they flatten out beautifully, and that doesn't really matter as much as you would think it would. This is an 8-inch tortilla press. That's what I got. And I don't know if it was fried in a skillet. I just used the oven to bake them. Let me check it's stuck a little bit more. Check the time. Okay, ready to check those. And they are ready to come out. So in addition to all of this that we're doing today, I'm also making a turkey stock to put in the canner. I had some turkey carcasses I needed to get rid of and get them out of the freezer. So we got those into the Instant Pot for 3 hours and getting those cooked up for future meals. Lots of soup, lots of rice. And here's what I like it to look like. Let me show you that actually. So you can kind of tell it's a little, you want to make sure it doesn't get too dark on it because I've done that before. And it will feel a little soft when you take it out of the oven. That's okay. It's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to do that. Now we're going to bake these in the oven. I'm going to go ahead and get these in. I've got the oven turned it up to 425. And what we'll do is we'll keep an eye on it, and I need 3 minutes. I have a Fitbit, and my Fitbits last a really long time. They really do. But my last one broke last March, and it took me months to get it. And because I kept putting it off, and we waited till there was a really big sale, because I use a Fitbit all the time. I love having it to see the time real easy. I like having it to get notifications, all of that. So we just have, and it's the basic, it's not the super expensive one. It's just a real basic. I don't need anything fancy. Erin's the one that likes the fancy technology-based stuff. Not me. I can do without that. I like things simple. Keep my life as easy as possible. Does it know what I need it to do? Basic functions, that's all I need. Gosh, this is working so good. I thought, it's like, it has to work better than what I was doing before. I mean, look at this. Look how perfectly thin. You can't see that? Oh gosh, it's perfect. Perfect. Let's keep an eye on those. Now the oven is going up to temperature. It's not quite at temperature where it needs to be, but it will be soon. And that's okay too. I do this all the time. I never let my oven preheat. I automatically just put the stuff in it. Then it takes long to cook. And I've never had an issue with it. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but it works for us. See that one toward just a smidge. It's okay. And I'm just going to keep pressing these down, getting these into the oven, and watch them as they bake. We'll get this first batch cooked, and I'll show you what they look like and get them into a bowl. This is way easier than using, what is that? I don't know what that, oh, it came off of the parchment paper on the side. I don't know what this is. What is this? I always focus whenever I'm doing anything. It's making sure it's as easy and stress-free as possible with, certain things into consideration. Does it really save me time in the long run? Does it really make sense in the long run? I have to look at all those things, because if it doesn't really save me time, then it might be worth it to do it another way. But I look at all of those things in consideration, which is why when I was like, let's try this tortilla press, I was like, will it really save me time? Because I still have to break these up, but to me, when they're cooked, they're going to be easier to work with versus when they're in this dough form, they're a little harder to deal with comparatively. I'll check here. Not quite ready yet. Just gotta keep an eye on them. These cook fast, super fast. You don't want to burn them. My nose is itchy. I'm smelling all the spices. Lots of spices. So Erin will eat these plain. He'll eat these with hummus or a dip or something like that. But he usually just eats them plain. Isabel will eat them up too. She loves these. So if you watched my last video on making cracker bread, you know it took a lot longer to get one pan made compared to this. I don't know if I'll ever go back. I mean, yes, it's small, and I could probably make these little dough balls a little bit bigger, but I was trying to make sure that they weren't too big because I want to get as many on the pan as possible. If they're too big, I'd have to flatten them, cut them, and get them on the pan that way. And I want to try to get as many on here as I can. oven telling me is the temperature. So now we have to watch very, very carefully because these will be done in a heartbeat. Let's pull them out and take a look. Not quite. They're very close though. They're very, very close. You can tell they've kind of formed. Few more minutes, so let's check it again in another 3 minutes. Again, we don't want them to burn. This is where we have to be very, very cautious because we've spent all this time and resources and make sure we don't burn what we're making here. We're just going to keep pressing these out and keep going forward. So we love homemade tortillas. I don't think I'll ever buy tortillas again unless it's like an emergency situation. I did have one time last October, we did buy a few tortillas just to have on hand because we had lost power and I needed some things to make some faster meals because we didn't want to turn the stove on. It was too warm. It was comfortable at that point, but we couldn't, use the stove. So we were trying to make sure that we could do things that kept the house cool. So I want little ones now. Fill this tray up as full as I can get it without them stacking on top of each other. My tortilla press is 8 inches, so it's a small one. I had looked at the 10 inch, I looked at the 12 inches, but I couldn't justify the cost whenever I was looking at things for Aaron to get me for Christmas. And if you're like, what do you mean looking at things for Aaron to get you for Christmas? So what we do is we actually use a Google sheet and we put a few things like wish list items that we want on there. And that is what we do to help, make sure we're getting something the other person wants. So a lot of times I will put small items for the kitchen that I like a tortilla press or things like that. It helps, especially because, like for me, Aaron likes things that I have no idea what they are. I have no idea, like all his ham radio, and this is not for me to determine or decide what I'm getting. So it helps a lot when you kind of have an idea of what the other person wants for some of the money that we've budgeted for. And here we go. This tray is ready to go into the oven, and we'll get the next one ready as well. So I reuse pans. I try to keep my dish cleaning as little as possible. I really do. I try to make sure I don't have to do dishes too terribly much or try to make the most. Whew, I got some steam on my glasses. I can't see. Let's see here. Yeah, these are ready. You can tell right here they're piping hot. Piping hot. They kind of puffed up. Very, very pretty. Those are lovely. So let me get my bowl. get these in the bowl. And then we're just going to keep pushing these through, getting them in, rotating, and when we come back, I'll show you what the final product looks like, and we'll get these jarred up and ready to eat. Everything's cooked. Everything is done, and I have it in jars. I have the jars open right now just to kind of let these air out. I fed everybody lunch. We had to have lunch and get that taken care of. But everything's ready to go in the pantry. And now this doesn't seem like a lot of food. It doesn't. But let me break it down for you. I have 7 jars of these crackers. These crackers turned out great. Now I might have had 8 jars of crackers, but Aaron had 3 servings and Isabel had 2 for lunch. Aaron came back 2 times. That's not a good one to do. See the crunch here. They just crunch. They have such a good crunch. But Aaron came back, he said they're so good. So we have 7 jars of the crackers here. And what each of these jars represents for my family is 1 week of food, 1 week of snacks. Because it's in a jar, I can control portions a lot better and kind of see if I give somebody too much, if I give somebody too little. Because it's clear, I have found that really helps me control those portions. So this is going to be 7 weeks of snacks. Now I need more. I need to do 3 more batches like this or more, because I want to make sure I have more than 7 weeks worth of these till at least take me to the fall. So 1 week worth of crackers, maybe 1 to 2 jars a week. I'd probably stick with 1 jar a week as much as possible, but sometimes I might need 2 if we need to have crackers with dinner and with lunch, or crackers as a snack and with one of our meals. So we have these here. And then we have the granola. Now each of these jars represents at least 2.5 to 3 meals. Now that doesn't seem like a lot. I probably could push it to 4. So if I do 3 meals per jar, that is 18 servings of cereal. So it is done. And it is good. Aaron really liked it. But we will have this, and we need to get at least 20 of these in the pantry. So we started with 6. I feel like this is a good first start. Again, I'm going slow. We're going to go very, very slow right now to where I don't wear myself out, because I know me. I know how I am. If I don't consciously tell myself not to do too much, I'm going to overdo it. So while this doesn't seem like a lot of food, in my eyes it is, because I know what it represents for my family, and it's shelf stable. So I could put it in the pantry. I don't have to worry about it. I can just leave it there, let it do its thing, and just walk away. Which I don't have to worry about the freezer. I don't have to worry about additional electricity, none of that. And I'm able to feed my family, if nothing else, snacks. But for the most part, these could be meals. This could be a side to a sandwich, whatever I need it to be. Aaron's already told me he's going to be having hummus and crackers later today. So let me know what you think. If you have any good shelf-stable snacks that you make and have on the shelf all the time, let me know. We'll be making a lot of these different items for the shelf, for my pantry shelves, but also for my freezer, like pancakes. We're going to be making more fruit leather, a whole bunch of stuff, more crackers, more cereals, and probably a lot of other things that we could put in the pantry and have ready to go, grab and eat meals that we like to have on hand. So let me know if you have any great recipes for your family. I'd love to know those in the comments below. And as always, thank you for joining us on the Canny Couple, where we work hard to live simple and enjoy life. Have a wonderful day.